Okay, Gaia. Gaia, it is so good to see you. Thank you for joining me today. Everyone, this is Gaia Bucciarelli. Gaia, it's so great. I love seeing
Hi.
you. Your smiling face is always wonderful.
Thank you so much. It's a big pleasure to be here with you.
Great.
Finally, we can see.
We can see each other. I know it's been a crazy year, and we're trying things differently. So this is a Bon Vivant Imports Santa Giustina virtual visit with Gaia from the estate, and to explain, we will talk about where you're located, your family, like the history of the property, kind of the different details about the land, and then we'll taste through your amazing wines. I love it's like a rainbow of beautiful color back here. It looks so nice, and
The colors of our land.
it is the color. You're right. You're right.
See.
And so first, I want to tell where you're located, Gaia. I've got some maps that I can share. So first of all, this is Italy, so everyone can kind of see. And Emilia-Romagna is in orange, so it crosses all the way through here. And when people think of Emilia-Romagna, they don't always think about wine as much as they do the food. So
Yes,
this
we
is
are
this is
very famous for
I
food.
found this great map. Emilia-Romagna, I mean, this is, if you look closely, this is prosciutto di Parma. They have prosciutto di Modena, Parmigiano Reggiano, balsamic vinegar. I mean, I didn't realize until I looked at this, mortadella is from this area. And then famous cars, the Ferrari, the Lamborghini. It is all in Emilia.
Also
Emilia-Romagna.
Valentino Rossi.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. So it's such a wonderful area of food and heritage, but it also does amazing wine. And so this is now Emilia-Romagna looking at the wine world. Where we think of Lambrusco, and there's some amazing grapes that are grown, but so much is consumed locally. And up in the northwest corner in the Colli Piacentini is where you're located, correct, Gaia?
Exactly. We're on the border with Lombardia.
Up here.
And exactly. There is Castel San Giovanni and Borgonovo, and we are a little bit upper on the hills.
On the hills. Okay, so you're actually in the gray zone, but you have vineyards in Colli Piacentini.
We are in Pianello, that is in the gray part under, you see where you can read Borgonovo.
Okay, Borgonovo,
and
right
you
here.
go down a little bit in the green part, where there is the red line. We are all there.
Perfect.
A little bit up on the corner.
and it's beautiful because Piacenza is off in the distance. You're less than an hour away from Milano, which is up north, and you get into these beautiful rolling hills. And actually, I found one more map that was a little closer. So you're right around this zone.
Where the red lines, the red
right here,
parallel lines.
Oh, this one.
There, yes.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Okay. And up in these rolling hills, this is looking at the estate. This is the old church. This property, we'll talk about that in just a moment. Kind of looking down on the property, and I mean, it is picture perfect, gorgeous. I love this land. It's really, really special. So first of all, I mean, Gaia, tell me, how did you start? How did Santa Giustina begin? And how did this property, where this old church sits, become your land?
I'll give you some historical details.
Yeah.
So the area of Santa Giustina and all the borg is very ancient. The church was built for the first time in the 800 AD. So it's very, very old.
100 years old. Yeah.
See, and the line of this street that made a kind of square around Santa Giustina is very, very, very old. It becomes from Romans because it's the street that go to Bobbio, that is very famous because was the passage between Emilia-Romagna and Liguria. So it was one of the salt way. And you know, in the past, the salt was very important because it was necessary for conserving food.
Right.
So
Especially in Emilia-Romagna area.
exactly. We use it for all the charcuteries,
For
so
everything.
it's very important.
Yeah, salt is crucial. Yeah.
See, we are located in Valtidone, and Valtidone is very famous for the charcuteries, especially for pancetta, salame, and coppa. They are the three DOP of Piacenza's charcuteries, and Valtidone is very, very famous for these three kinds of special food.
Very special foods.
See, you try them.
Oh, yes, I love eating it.
Valtidone was very famous also because it was a floating, Tidone River was a floating river. So it was the faster connection with Liguria, the seaside, and the Po River. So all the main cities in the flatlands.
Cool.
And it was very, very important. But in the passing of the time, Valtrebbia was becomes more important because it was very close to Piacenza, and Piacenza's people can go very easily to Valtrebbia. And Valtidone was a little bit forgotten in the last period. But now we have a lot of very nice landscapes because we don't have a lot of buildings and a lot of people that comes here in Valtidone go to restructures ancient properties. So it is becoming a very good place to stay.
Okay, yeah.
Now we have a little bit more tourism, and that's very important for everything. You know, tourism is the life of lands. So yeah, it's very important.
Depends on 2020 is not so good for tourism. Yeah.
We arrived in Santa Giustina in the 1972 because my father was looking for a property that was a little bit wild. And so we arrived here. They arrived here because I was not there. I'm younger.
You're so much younger. Yeah.
Not so much. They comes alone here. Then arrived also me and my brother, but they started alone. And they started for the passion that my father has for hunting games. So here was a hunting preserve. And we start to preserve all the field and the wild games and wildlife. Now is one of the most important place for the big bunnies, the long hairs.
Hares, yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly. Thank you. So here now is a very important place. And another special thing that we do here, so then we start with the vineyards in the 2003. Building the cellar, that is the black roof that you can see there.
Yes.
But we are also driving the property with the very strong philosophy of more cultures.
Like more ecosystem, the entire property.
Exactly. Exactly. Cool. We don't have only vines, but we have also a lot of woods.
Natural forest, like biodiversity between the whole land.
Exactly. And we plant also lavender because they're very important for the bees. And you know that bees are life. So
bees are life, yeah. And we need more of them.
The bees. And now we are working on a project for planting some olive trees. Because here was a very important area for olives. Also because we are very close to Liguria. So We give wine to Liguria and they give olive trees to us in the
So
past.
does Colli Piacentini border Liguria or Piemonte or both?
We are in a special corner and we have Lombardia on one side, that is the main side. We have Piemonte very close in the northwestern part, and we have Liguria under. And Valtidone go directly to Liguria. So it's a very good connection with the sea.
Yeah, it's interesting. I hadn't necessarily placed Liguria in my mind. I always think of wine country in Piemonte and wine country just north up in like Oltreppa Pavese, but not the Ligurian connection, which is very important.
See, it is. It is because it is the direct way to the sea, and in with the sea you can have the main part of the commerce. So we have the direct way to go to the ports.
Yeah.
And
So
it's very important.
Is the climate there just very Mediterranean? You know, how would you describe the typical year?
Here in the beginning of the Colli Piacentini's area, we have a wonderful climate because we have the Pianura Padana, all the flat area where is the Po River, that is exactly in the front of us. So we can have the air that comes, and usually Pianura Padana is warmer than the hills. So we have always fresh air because the hills give us the fresh air that Pianura Padana catch. And we have always a little bit wind.
Which gives amazing freshness to all the wine.
It is very important for the health of the grapes.
Cool.
Because when you have air, you doesn't have mold, you doesn't have sickness, so it's very important. And also when you want to dry some grapes, like for making passito wines, it's important because you can have always fresh air. Pianura Padana is important for the fog. It's very famous, sorry, not important. It's very famous for the fog. And up here, we don't have any kind of fog, only sometimes comes. And so we have a very dry climate. But we have, in the last 10 years, we have an increasing of the temperatures. So something is changing, but it's not so strange changing, so strong. This warming will help for planting lavender or olive trees. And so we change a little bit the way to make the agriculture, but it's very good for this kind of area.
Cool. And what is the soil like?
It's all clay.
It's all clay. Especially with the riverbeds. So yeah, a lot of clay soil.
The village that you can see in this picture is Pianello. That is exactly on the side of Tidone River. Beautiful. So down there, you can imagine the passage of the river. You can see the plants that made some turns.
Right. Oh, right here.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the river. And we have all clay soil that is a little bit difficult to work.
Sure.
Because when it's raining, sometimes we have landsliding.
Landslides. Oh, okay. Because it's very thick. Clay can be difficult.
See. Yeah. Especially when you work with the tractors, will be dangerous also.
Right.
But it's very good for vines because the clay get immediately dry on the upper part, but the under part it remain very humid.
Oh yeah.
So, we doesn't have problems with the emergency of water, you
Of
know.
water. Okay. Okay. Cool.
So the vines are always fine.
Well, and on this beautiful old property, you have these really cool things. So it's always fun. Gaia takes us around in these amazing old World War II Jeeps, right?
See.
I love it.
They arrived here. We don't know how, but there's some stories that says that the planes that was flying up here with the troops
Uh-huh.
par left
Parachuted down with
that
with
one.
these Jeeps. Wow. Okay. Well, and the clay soil makes it for tough. Do you remember this? We had to
I
push them
remember
afterwards.
this.
It was great. It was great. Um, so okay, so you know, this climate and the clay soils kind of and brings this wonderful range of wines that you do. Um, how do you like? What is your philosophy in the farm? How do you farm these grapes?
So we are used to get the best part from directly from the vines. The cellar is only for composing the wines, but the
Cool.
main part is in the fields. We work a lot during the winter for getting the best from the vines,
From the vines in the summer.
and
Yeah.
it's very important.
Mhm.
Uh, okay, we have always the problem that agriculture is open air, so you are in the hands of God, but it's important to take always the best that we can receive from the sky.
Yeah, yeah.
And the clay soil is very important to have more fragrance in the wines. And also, especially in some of our wines, but you can feel a little bit in everyone, the salted flavor. That is a little bit salted, that is very important, and it comes from the vines.
From the vines too,
See,
because the from the sea they sprinkled salt everywhere on the way to Emilia-Romagna.
see, also the sea is the
Yeah,
sea air
the
is
sea air is
everywhere,
cool.
but the clay soil give all the minerals to the
Yeah.
wine.
Okay.
So it's very important, and especially for Ortrugo, we go to choose the uh, perfect grapeness, ripe,
Ripeness.
ripeness. Yes, sorry, it's too long time that I didn't speak with you,
You're doing great.
so
You're doing great.
we, we have to do often. I have to improve my English more.
No, you're doing fantastic.
Thank you. But all the grapes are, it's very important that go to the perfect ripeness
Yeah, yeah,
because the sugar is the thing that give also the long life to
yeah,
the
yeah,
wine.
yeah. Of course.
We tasted few time ago, just few weeks ago, 2017 Malvasia. That was very fresh. It was
It was very
perfect, and
really
we were
cool.
surprised about it.
A few
But
years in, and it still shows that freshness from that soil. It's retained there.
see.
Yeah, yeah.
And Ortrugo has the particularity that is very subject to oxidation. So the ripeness keep off a part of this problem, and usually when we keep the wine the grapes to the winery, to the cellar, we press it at cold
Cool.
temperatures,
Cool.
so this is helpful too for
Yeah.
the oxidation. It is very
Perfect.
important.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I think all of your wines show this kind of that aromatic, wonderful quality that you find, from that piece of land, that area you're in. So, and you farm pretty organically. Do you?
We do, as we are organic. We keep all the fields in organic protocol.
Okay.
But not the vines, because I think that the vines doesn't need anything. If you have the right air, if you have the control on the vines, you don't need to give them anything.
You don't have,
but it's like with the kids. If you have kids that are healthy, you don't need to give them anything. But if they need the antibiotics, you have to give it.
and forever too. You have to keep on giving. Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't want to lose the opportunity to save my plants.
Cool.
But for us, it's very important to keep safe all the animal life. So all the insects and all the animals that go inside the fields, all the fields are very important. So we don't use chemical products in the vines, in the vineyards, because we need the animals.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
If you use chemical products, you lose the animals.
For sure. So you leave the vines stay as natural as possible this way.
Sí, absolutely. We use a special weather controller that together with the software of the Piacenza University, that is one of the main agriculture university in Italy, we study a program, a software that can give us the timing for the treatments, so we can use only sulfur and we don't need to use anything else.
Cool. So just a little sulfur, no copper?
Yeah, a little bit sometimes, but when it needed. And
only
the
when
software
it's needed.
gives us the timing, and if you really need, because sometimes before using this kind of method, we saw the weather and we said, okay, yesterday was raining, so today we have to make the treatment. Okay, for safe, for health, we go and give sulfur and copper.
Right.
But then when we start to use this kind of control,
the plan,
we see that sometimes it's not needed.
That's cool. That's really neat.
So,
that's fantastic.
So we don't have, if we don't use a lot of copper, we don't have metals inside the wines. Cool. So it's important too.
And then your use for the wines of like sulfites. You pick the grapes and you use a little bit of sulfites, but then no more throughout the process.
No.
So
we don't need.
You don't need, yeah.
No, because our cellar is very modern and we can work with the temperatures and we don't need to add anything.
Cool.
So
a little bit out in the vines when so that fermentation doesn't begin in the vineyard, but
exactly only for to preserve the grapes, but only at the beginning time. It depends also by the fields, because we have all the vineyards very close to the winery.
Right.
And we're used to harvest everything by hands, so the grapes doesn't break.
Sure.
And so they doesn't need to be covered by sulfates.
So yeah, you don't need very much.
Yeah.
Cool. And then do you, for fermentations, do you use yeast or do you let it happen naturally or a mixture?
We use a selection of yeast that are special for the kind of grapes that we have here.
Okay.
Ortrugo needs a kind of yeast, and Malvasia different kinds, and Sauvignon different again. So we use this kind of yeast just for starting the fermentation.
For helping the inoculation, yeah. And with the reds as well?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
For the reds is important only for the especially for the sparkling one, because the second fermentation need a kind of liquor, sorry. Like for spumante, it's the same kind of vinification.
Kind of in addition, yeah, for
Yeah,
extra
because
sugar and
the bubbles needs to be created,
yeah,
and
okay.
go to create the bubbles.
It needs a special liqueur. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Okay.
We use the Martinotti method, that is the Charmat, but for
True
making
word is Martinotti, method Martinotti, because this Charmat French guy stole it from the Italians, but it was originally method Martinotti.
exactly,
Yeah.
and then especially we are Italians, so
Yeah.
we use
So it's
our
Martinotti.
words.
Yeah.
But for making vivace, like frizzante,
Yeah.
is around 2 atmospheres of pressure.
Low
So,
pressure for the first two wines that we'll taste. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. The second fermentation is with a few quantity of liqueur.
Okay. Okay.
Because,
To
the
get that
fermentation,
started when it's in tank.
exactly.
Great. So let's try this. This is Santa Giustina Ortrugo, and
My
2000.
favorite.
Oh, me too. 2019, and so you can kind of see. So vivace, I love the word vivace because I feel it's less than frizzante. You know, you have spumante, which is full bubbles, frizzante, which is half bubbles, and vivace, which is like just spritzy. It's
Just a little bit more than 2 atmospheres. So it's very few bubbles. And we see now when you serve the wine that made the bubbles up, but you don't have the perlage like
yeah, like champagne
frizzante or spumante. You just have only a pepper sensation, but it's only a little bit CO2 that go to made exploding all the flavors like at the nose.
Yeah, it's true. It's the texture. The texture helps bring all those flavors all over the palate. You know, so the sparkling quality just really expands on the tongue and up the sides and the roof of your mouth. So it's very full in your mouth, but it's mouth-wateringly like good acidity, and the fruit is so fresh and so vibrant. And
especially the green apple, no?
green apples for days. Yeah. Lots of green apple. A little bit of lime, but that green apple and kind of green pear tone to it. It's so pretty and fun and very, very fresh. It's the best when it's hot outside, and it's been so hot this year for us here in Utah.
Here
And,
too.
really, yeah. It's perfect for outside for the porch.
It's a patio wine. I love Ortrugo grapes because they are the autochthon grape here.
It's local
and
right there.
See, it's local of Piacenza. And especially Valtidone is vocated for Ortrugo. I love this kind of grape because was for many years it was cutted with other grapes, but the 100% is for me is one of the most particular kind of wines that we can make because it's only ours.
It's only yours. Yeah, I think that's Ortrugo. It's related in the Trebbiano family, right? Is that? But Ortrugo
it's a
itself
kind of
there.
Trebbiano, yeah.
Cool.
But when was in the story, when they had to give a name to this wine, they had Malvasia, they had Trebbiano, they had Sauvignon. That there's a nice story about Sauvignon here in Piacenza. But they had Sauvignon, and then there was this other grape. So Ortrugo, it seems that the name comes from Ortruga, altra uva, other grape.
Other grape, really? Okay. It's just the other grape, Ortrugo. Yeah,
the other grape.
Yeah, that's great. That's funny. Well, and so in that same line of fresh vivace style, you make a
Yeah.
Gutturnio.
Yes.
DOC Gutturnio from a couple different grapes, right? This is a
Two different
denomination,
grapes.
two different grapes.
Gutturnio is the most ancient kind of wine that we have in this area, together with Malvasia. They are the most famous. And the name Gutturnio, it comes from a kind of cup that Romans used to drink wines.
Oh,
But there's a lot of text, Romans text that says, pay attention, soldiers. When you go around Piacenza and you want to take the wine, you cut not with 3 parts of water, but with 5 parts of water, because Gutturnio is strong.
really?
The
Okay.
Piacenza's wine is strong. Now, it's not so strong, but maybe in the past was a very natural kind of grape. So it was more intense. So Gutturnio is a traditional name, but the wine is made with 60% Barbera and 40% Croatina. So we go to connect Piemonte and Oltrepo Pavese,
Cool.
and we create our kind of wine.
You create your kind of wine. And is Vivace style traditional or just for you?
No, is the most important. It's only a few years that in this area a lot of vigneron winemakers start to make the still version, but the most important is the sparkling one.
Is the sparkling?
Yeah.
It's again, the palette is so like expressive across everything because that little bit of bubble just it carries all of the fruit, and the fruit is like, you know, really bright juicy blueberries and blackberries and dark cherries and boysenberries and raspberries, kind of all of these wonderful small fruits in
And
one.
very fresh.
Very fresh, very fresh, and kind of almost I don't know, there's a savory quality, a little bit of spice. It's not,
See?
it's, you know, it's not like a dark spice, but it's a fresh spice that makes the palate very exciting. It's cool.
This is the sensation that the CO2 can give to the this kind of grapes in this kind of vinification, because it claims more minerals. So you can have a calling of the mineral sensation that becomes spices.
Yeah.
It's not aged, you know, but the spices comes very like something that reminds a note of pepper, a note of fresh, but also stimulante. I don't know.
Stimulated with like it has some serious depth to it too, and and so perfect for the cured meats. You know, for the coppa, for the prosciutto.
Absolutely.
It's really dynamite.
It's perfect with all the kinds of fat dishes.
Fat dishes, cuts through.
Yeah, because the bubbles can cut everything.
And the label does say frizzanti as well, so that customers can see, okay, there's bubbles here, because sometimes red wines with bubbles freak people out, but this is intentional. It's intentional. It's done in closed tank. These are natural occurring bubbles. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. When you serve the wine in the glass, you had the small part of
purple bubbles.
Bubbles, yes, but it go away very fast.
Yeah. It doesn't stay around, but it stays on the palate.
It comes a little bit spuma, like the waves.
Like waves.
Foam.
Yeah.
I was looking for this word. But there's a nice history that says that a blind man go with his help me.
His wife or
his friend, they
His
go
friend, okay,
together
okay.
inside a bar and they ask for Gutturnio frizzante. And the blind man said to the man, "Hey, the foam is gone. No, so we go away now."
Because they want the foam. It's important to stay fresh.
Yeah, it's important that the wine, the Gutturnio, the sparkling Gutturnio, made the foam, but the foam has to disappear immediately. So has to go away very fast.
Ah, okay, okay, I see. So
And
that
if
it
it
doesn't,
doesn't happen, you have to go.
you have to go. Okay, I love it. That's great. That's great.
It's a
Well, and
strange
it did.
story.
It was perfect. It was a foam. It disappeared, and it
Yes.
just remains on the
Thank
palate.
you.
Cool, cool. So now we get into 100% versions. We have 100% of the Croatina, and then
Yeah,
100% of the Barbera. But you might be
exactly.
saying that doesn't say Croatina. That says
Yeah,
Bonarda
because Croatina is the grape, Bonarda is the wine.
is the wine. So when everyone thinks in America, everyone knows the Italians are very confusing, and this is one of the most confusing of grapes in all of Italy is Croatina, and
Because Bonarda wine and
mhm,
Bonarda grape,
and Bonarda
because
grape.
Italians that move from here to the South America, South and Middle America,
Mhm,
they bring with them the vines, and there was a lot of people that comes from Piemonte, and they keep with them the Bonarda grapes.
mhm.
But Bonarda grapes is not so used here in Italy. So is the origin is Italian, but here is not so used. Is not
So used.
so.
So yeah,
Mm,
Croatina, when it becomes wine, is now called Bonarda.
yeah,
And the Croatina grape is the same as a few different grapes in Piemonte that have totally different names, but they're all the Croatina. So it's very
absolutely. Yes.
confusing.
But
But
Croatina is the main grape from Oltrepò Pavese.
from Oltrepo Pavese, just
Yeah,
north of you, yeah. Um,
yeah,
so
very
this
close
is
to here.
100% Croatina, and I love it. The aromatics are so vibrant. They're so fresh.
For me, it's one of the most elegant wine that we made.
Mhm.
My mom loves this wine. She's from Tuscany, and she finds here this kind of wine that give her all the best qualities of the Tuscan wines. So the
Yeah, yeah,
richness
I see
of
that.
fruits, but not so. Uh,
Heavy.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah. It does. It has a lot of texture and a lot of richness, and
Yeah,
even some tannin, but it's still fresh and easy drinking and very elegant, like you said.
sì,
Um,
sì.
it's an aromatic. It's beautiful. How long does this stay with the skins before you press? Is it a shorter time or is it a longer time?
It depends by the year, by the
Vintage. Okay.
vintage, but around 15, 20 days with the skins, and then be pressed and separate from the skins.
And this
Uh,
is in stainless steel.
sì,
Um,
sì,
all of this
sì.
is in stainless steel, no oak aging.
No,
Um,
no one of this.
how long in stainless steel before you bottle?
Also, this depends by the vintage because sometimes if we harvest very early because the weather was very hot, you can have the wine ready easier. But in the perfect harvest, that doesn't exist, the perfect,
Right, right, right.
perfect harvest. But in the ideal perfect harvest, you need around 4 months around before that the wine start to become a wine,
Okay, okay.
go out from the teenaging.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure. So you need some time for it to develop and then to be bottled.
Sì, sì,
And
sì.
so everyone, this is the 2018 vintage is what we currently have in stock. I
Yeah.
think do we have any 2019 behind the 2018 yet? The Barbera, maybe?
I have Barbera and I have also Bonarda, but
Okay.
we bottled them only the last month.
Oh, okay. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. So we don't have, yeah, everything we have is 2018 and then 2019 Ortrugo.
Yeah, yeah.
So last but not least is the other 100% version of what is in Gutturnio, and that
Yes.
is the Barbera.
See, my
Uh,
baby.
so this is your baby.
See, I love Barbera in any kind of forms. Barbera is one of the most generous kind of grapes that we have in Italy. If you take a tour in the north of Italy, you can find Barbera in many, many, many different kind of vinifications and different kind of wines. I love this one because comparating,
Okay.
right, to the Piedmont Barbera is very soft. So has the structure and the power of the male, but is very, very soft and very drinkable. Has the Mora is the blackberry, right?
Yes, yes.
Mora, yeah.
Mora.
It has the blackberry, fresh blackberry, but very mature and elegant, soft velvet, and doesn't have the corners that sometimes the Piemonte Barbera have.
That Piemonte Barbera can have. You're
Yeah.
right. It's and like you, I love good Piemonte Barbera, but it has more angles and more structure around the outside.
They
This
need more
wine,
aging.
yeah, it takes more time. This
Yeah.
wine is so soft and it's so elegant and so easy, but still great
See.
structure. Really like it fills the mouth very well. The fruit is lovely. That kind of that blackberry um and kind of like black cherry, but
See, see, see,
also just kind of also a little bit of land. I want to say some lavender and some rosemary, like some hints of this wonderful herb. It's very complex. And these wines are such incredible values. They're easy to pour by the glass. They're easy on the retail shelf. They have great packaging. I mean, I love everything about Santa Giustina and Gaia, and it's just awesome.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Like it's really really wonderful, especially in these times where we all stay at home all day long and we don't get to see the same friends that we typically want to see, and especially we can't see someone across seas right now. We're not coming to Italy anytime soon, unfortunately. But
Not now.
not now, not now. And it's really wonderful to sit with you, to talk with you, to hear about the story, and to taste these beautiful wines. I love the Santa Justina line. Gaia, thank you for your time and thank you
Thank you so
for
much
joining
too.
us.
I just have to, I like to tell you one more thing
Sure, of
that is
course.
very important, especially in this moment, because
Okay.
I heard that you in your market have noticed about the caporalato, the
Oh yes,
bad
yes.
use of people inside the wineries.
Thank you. Labor things. Yeah,
Yes.
big in the news right now.
Is a very bad use that there is in a few parts of Italy, but we are very restrictive about this.
Great.
It's very important that people that come to work here comes always. So
They
for
come
us,
back every year.
people come first. So
That's
it's very, very important. And we have but this is in the philosophy of my family in any kind of the work that we made. We have people that work with us from more than me. So
cool. Really.
we
For
love
many years. That's great.
to have the workers that grow with
Yeah,
us.
well, and especially because they know the vines better than anyone, and each
See,
year they treat them right and they bring them in, and pay them properly and you treat them right, which is a really big thing. And in the wine world right now, and thank you for bringing this up, it's very important because we don't always, us as importers or us as consumers or drinkers, we just think it's wine, it's delicious, and it's organic and it's this and that. But what about how are the people treated that are working the wine in the vineyards, in the cellar, everything? So thank you, and thank you for holding that philosophy. It's amazing.
Thank you to give me the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, of course, of course. Well, it's great to see you, and keep in touch, and we will talk soon.
Yes, for sure.
All right.
Big hugs.
Big hugs. Ciao, ciao. Bye.
Ciao.